Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Easy Chat English, where we practice English while talking about real-life experiences. I'm Amelia, and with me is my awesome co-host Ethan. How are you today, Ethan?
I'm doing great, thanks. Excited to chat about one of my favorite topics, eating out. Who doesn't love a good meal at a nice restaurant, right?
Absolutely. Eating out is such a big part of our lives these days. Whether it's grabbing a quick bite at a food truck or enjoying a fancy dinner at a restaurant, it's all about the experience. So, today we're going to talk about our personal experiences eating out, and we'll also learn some useful English vocabulary along the way.
Yes, and we have a lot of great words and expressions to share with you today. So if you're ready to improve your English and talk about food, let's get started.
Okay, Ethan, let's start by talking about our favorite types of restaurants. What kind of places do you like to go to when you eat out?
That's a tough one because I love all kinds of food. But I'd say my favorite is casual dining. You know, places where the atmosphere is relaxed and you don't need a reservation to eat there. I like the laid-back vibe.
Casual dining is great because it's affordable and comfortable. But I have to admit, I'm a fan of fine dining every now and then. There's something special about dressing up and going to a fancy restaurant. The food presentation, the ambiance, it all feels like a special occasion.
Oh yes, fine dining is amazing, but for me that's more of a treat. Most of the time I go for something simpler, like fast food or even food trucks. I love food trucks. You can grab a bite quickly and the food is usually really good and affordable.
Food trucks are definitely fun, and they're great for trying different cuisines. Speaking of which, do you have a favorite type of cuisine?
I'd say I love Mexican food. Tacos, burritos, you name it. There's this amazing food truck near my house that makes the best quesadillas. What about you?
For me, it's definitely Italian food. I can never resist pasta or pizza. There's a cozy little Italian restaurant I go to, and their spaghetti is out of this world. Now that we've talked about our favorite types of restaurants, let's move on to something really important: ordering food. In many sit-down restaurants like casual dining or fine dining places, you'll need to follow a specific ordering process, starting with appetizers, moving on to the main course, and possibly finishing with dessert. This is a big part of the eating out experience. And knowing the right words can make it a lot easier, especially for English learners.
Right. Let's start with appetizers. These are small dishes you order before the main meal. They're also called starters. Think of them as little snacks to get you ready for the bigger meal. For example, in a lot of restaurants, you'll see things like soups, salads, or even things like mozzarella sticks or spring rolls in the appetizer section.
Exactly. An appetizer is meant to be light, not too filling. Personally, I love getting a salad as an appetizer. It's just the right amount of food before the main meal. What about you, Ethan?
Oh, I usually go for something like garlic bread or bruschetta. You know, something small but delicious. Now, after you've had your appetizer, it's time for the main course. This is the big dish, the most important part of the meal. It's usually the largest portion and is what most people are really looking forward to. For example, at an Italian restaurant, the main course might be a big plate of pasta or a pizza. In a steakhouse, it might be a steak with some vegetables.
Yes, the main course is the centerpiece of the meal. It's the dish that will really fill you up. And here's a good tip. If you're ever confused about what to choose as a main course, you can always ask the server, "What do you recommend?" That way, you get some guidance from the expert.
Definitely. Now, sometimes you want something extra to go with your main course, and that's where side dishes come in. A side dish is a small portion of food that goes alongside your main meal. Common side dishes include things like French fries, mashed potatoes, or a side salad. They complement the main dish, so you have a bit of variety.
Yes, and often the side dish isn't included with the main course, so you might need to order it separately. For example, if you're ordering a burger, you might add a side of fries or onion rings to go with it.
That's right, and don't forget dessert. Dessert comes after the main course. It's usually something sweet like ice cream, cake, or pie. A perfect way to finish your meal.
Definitely. And if you're too full to finish everything, or if you want to take some of your meal home, you can always ask for a to-go box. That way, you can enjoy the rest of your meal later.
Yes, just tell the waiter, "Can I get this to go?" or "Can I have a takeaway box?" It's a great way to make sure nothing goes to waste.
Now let's talk about dining etiquette, especially in restaurants. For example, in the US, tipping is a big deal.
Yes, it really is. In many countries, tipping isn't required, but in the US, it's expected that you leave a tip for the server, usually around 15 to 20% of the bill. If the service was really good, you might want to leave a little extra.
That's right, and I think it can be a bit confusing for people who aren't used to tipping. Sometimes people ask, why should I tip if the restaurant is already expensive? But the tip is really about showing appreciation for good service.
Exactly. And speaking of etiquette, there are also little things like saying thank you when the waiter brings your food, or knowing how to politely call the waiter if you need something.
Oh, and when the check or bill arrives, if you're dining with a group, you might hear people say, "Let's split the bill." That just means everyone pays an equal share.
Yes, or sometimes one person will pay for the whole meal and say, "It's on me," which means they're treating everyone.
Let's shift gears and talk about some of our most memorable dining out experiences. Do you have any funny or interesting stories?
Oh, I have plenty. One time I went to this restaurant that was famous for its specialty dish, super spicy noodles. I thought I could handle it, but after one bite, I was sweating and my mouth was on fire. It was both hilarious and painful.
That sounds intense. I had a similar experience when I tried undercooked sushi once. I didn't realize it was supposed to be raw, and I thought it was a mistake. I was so confused, but it turns out that's how it's supposed to be.
Dining out can definitely be full of surprises, but that's part of the fun. Trying new cuisines and learning about different flavors.
Exactly. And even if you have a mishap like we did, it's all part of the experience. Plus, it makes for a great story later. Now let's talk about how eating out has changed, especially with the rise of delivery apps and contactless options. I know a lot of people, including me, use apps to order food for delivery.
Yes, same here. With so many apps like Uber Eats and DoorDash, you can get food from your favorite restaurants delivered right to your door. It's so convenient, especially when you don't feel like going out.
Exactly. And some restaurants even offer curbside pickup or contactless delivery so you don't have to interact with anyone. That really became popular during the pandemic.
Definitely. It's changed the way we think about dining out. Now you can have the same experience at home, minus the ambiance, of course.
Right, but even though ordering from home is convenient, I still enjoy the experience of dining in at a restaurant now and then. The service, the presentation, it's all part of the experience. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you enjoyed talking about eating out as much as we did.
Yes, and we hope you learned some new words and expressions that will help you when you're dining out or even ordering food.
Exactly. Whether you're at a food truck or fine dining, eating out is such a great way to explore new foods and enjoy time with friends or family.
And remember, next time you're at a restaurant, don't forget your etiquette, and don't forget to tip your server.
Great advice. Thanks again for tuning in to Easy Chat English. We'll see you next time with another fun topic. Until then, happy dining.
Bye for now.